Hello, my little friends. Today's reading is sponsored by
No one!
but it is a very special happy birthday to a little friend named Cameron Adams. There was going to be more to this, but I'm lazy. Happy birthday, Cameron, and I hope you enjoy. Or I should do before the song starts, we would like to give an announcement. To Cameron Adams, happy birthday, buddy. Trust me, we at Stonesy Boy Inc., with me, and me all on my shirt, are all happy to say happy birthday to you. So for that, we give you this. A Stonesy cake. This cake is specifically designed to look like Stonesy, but not look like Stonesy. Understand? Nope?
Neither do I! Okay, let's get the show on the road.
This is the only time I'm doing this. But yeah, happy birthday, Cameron Adams, and if I become famous, you know who to call. Start the polka rap! Hello everyone, my name is Stonesy Boy, and welcome back from the Pokey Rap, especially you, Cameron. Today, we are going to read pages 41 to 60. Of course, I've been gone for a while. Why have you been gone? I haven't been able to read. Or I didn't want to. That's a simple and true answer. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, I was busy with doing something. Nope, I honest to God didn't want to read. So, that's simple and easy. But today, I decided to read because it's Cameron Atkin's birthday. Everyone knows that guy. He's famous. He's out there. He's hanging out with celebrities. That's all you need to know about him. But yeah, let's get to reading. Let's hope you're comfy there, my friend. You are? Okay, good. Anyways, let's go. Come in here, Jessica. I see you, April called to her. Jessica had tried not to be noticed. She wasn't doing a good job of that lately. She stepped into April's room. Hi. Where's your mop? April wanted to know. Still in the cleaning closet. There was a beat of silence between them. It's cancer in the blood, if you're wondering why I'm here, April told her. There was a dark circle under her eyes, just like when Jessica had covered up with makeup. I'll be losing my hair again soon. Bald will be the new me. Jessica didn't respond. You're pretty, April said, studying her. Tell me about your school, your life. I've been in and out of school for the past couple of years. Missed out on a lot of stuff. My friends barely speak to me now. They don't know what to say. They think I don't want to hear how much fun they're having, but I do. I used to play basketball. I'm athletic, or used to be. What I wouldn't give to run down the court and shoot baskets again. But now, I can do that in my imagination. So tell me, please, just for a few minutes, help me be part of your world. Jessica grabbed her pendant hanging from her neck and rolled it back and forth in her chain. She knew she didn't really have a life. Not the one she really wanted, but embezzling a little bit about your life was about to help April, then she would try to talk about herself. Leaning against the wall, Jessica told her about Robert and Minnie Bob. She told her about the kind and nice things was to her and the others had been, that the project was halfway complete and he had just taught her to go to prom. April listened with a smile and a few questions thrown in and swoons over Robert and the possibility of going to prom. Maybe one day I'll get to go to prom, April said. I can dream, right? You will go to prom, Jessica said, if you believe it. I can picture it. I would be completely healed. My hair would be full and healthy. I think I would have bright pink dress or green one with matching shoes. I would go with a nice boy like your friend Robert. I would dance all night and laugh with friends, maybe even a part of the royal prom court. Then we would all go out together somewhere like the beach. We'd run around a small campfire and talk about our dreams. The stars and moon would shine down on us, and maybe the boy would give me a coat because I was cold. Then, when I was quiet and we were alone, he would give me a kiss under the stars. It would be the best night of my life. Jessica pictured the scene along with April, but instead of April, it was Jessica, having the best night of her life at prom. Jessica felt herself yearn for a wonderful and normal experience just like April had described. I'm tired now, April lowered herself in a pillow and closed her eyes. We'll talk again sometime, Jessica. Okay, Jessica clenched the pendant and looked at April. She could help April, she thought. But she was supposed to help everyone? Father Jeremiah's words drifted into her head. Giving the others a great gift. But yes, Jessica, giving back to ourselves is a gift as well. With guilt heavy on her shoulders, Jessica quietly drifted back into the dark hallway. After school, Jessica and Robert were ready for the first test run of the mini robot. Robert wanted a quiet place so the students wouldn't bother them. Jessica suggested the cemetery. The day was sunny and the cemetery was fairly empty for visitors. You were right, it is pretty quiet here, Robert said as he looked around. Yes, almost peaceful, Jessica said as he led him to a far empty section of the parking lot. How'd you end up finding this place, he asked. Jessica blinked. Well, his eyes widened. Oh, do you know someone buried here? Geez, I'm sorry. Oh, no, never mind, she said, not having an explanation for he would understand. Let's just get set up. A small bot was melded together in various metal parts in the junkyard, remaining components bought in the hardware store, with a flat tray on its back. The arms had been fused together with aluminum tubbing, with the wires tucked inside. It's not yet painted or officially named, but it was ready for the trial run. Robert set a mini bot down and then placed a soda can on the back of its tray. Okay, Jess, this is our first test run for the mini bot 5000, Robert announced. Jessica's eyes widened. You named it after my choice? I thought you said it was an original enough. Yeah, but it was the best name we had, and MB deserves one. So mini bot 5000 it is. You ready to take some notes? Lately, being with Robert and experiencing this kind of ness, Jessica felt an unfamiliar warmth inside her which she spent with him. And when he made the nice gestures to her, like choosing her name for the mini bot, he would really remember feeling this way before, or maybe it had been such a long time she'd forgotten. She wasn't sure what was wrong or right, but she knew she enjoyed feeling good. She nodded. Notebook, check. Okay, switching on Minibot 5000, turning on the remote. Here goes nothing. Robert pushed the knob on the controller forward. There was a pause. Then a Minibot shifted an inch forward and started rolling. Yes, it's working, Robert shouted. Jessica smiled and excitement for creating something new rushed over her. We actually did it. Okay, here goes the ultimate test. Robert pushed a button on the remote. The tray rose slowly. Then he switched the button again and the tray shifted back down. All right, he said in excitement. The lift works. Robert directed the Minibot 5000 to turn right and then left, then back around to stop in front of Robert's feet before a wheel surprisingly fell off. The Minibot 5000 fell to one side, the soda can tipped over and fell to the ground. They stared at the wheel as it rolled off to the side. Then they laughed. We can fix that, he said. He smiled at Jessica. We succeeded in our first round of the Minibot 5000. We made a good team, partner. Jessica nodded. Yes. She took a deep breath. And Robert? Yeah. Something fluttered in her stomach. I would like to go to prom with you. Robert's smile got bigger. You would? Awesome, he said. I'll get tickets tomorrow at lunch. I can meet you at their house before the dance. No, I can't meet you there. It'll be easier for me. Are you sure? Yes. Oh, okay. We can go eat afterward if you want. I don't know all the good places to eat yet, but maybe you could tell me your favorite. Maybe. Just let me know what color your dress will be as soon as you know, so then I can try to match the tux if possible. Depends on what is available at the rental. Color of the dress? Oh, okay. All right, great, Jess. It'll be fun. Do you want to do the honors and get the wheel back in the Minibot 5000? He offered her the socket wrench. Jessica gave a small smile and took the wrench. Sure. Nurse Macy watched Jessica mopping the floor. Something was definitely off. Jessica peered into space, barely moving. Usually her head was down as the girl was doing her best not to be noticed. Today it was like she was in a trance. Nurse Macy recalled that Father Jeremiah had said he could use a friend, I think. Jessica, are you okay? Nurse Macy asked her. Do you need a break? How about some water? You could be dehydrated. Jessica blinked. No, I'm okay. Are you sure? Jessica nodded. If you need help with something, please don't hesitate to ask. Jessica stared at her for a moment. Nurse Macy began to feel like Jessica would forget to speak when he finally blinked. I'm going to prom, she said. Nurse Macy smiled, happily surprised. That's wonderful. Who's the lucky boy? His name is Robert. He's a science partner. Bet you're excited. Jessica didn't answer. This is someone else bothering you? Nurse Macy asked her. She wished she knew what was going on in her mind. I've never been to prom before. I don't know what to expect. I don't know about what to do about a dress. Nurse Macy looked at Jessica with compassion. She wanted to ask her what about her mom or dad or sibling or relative, but she felt those personal questions might shut down Jessica completely with this vulnerable moment. She didn't know Jessica's personal story, but she understood Jessica was fragile and secretive about her life. There appeared to be a sadness about her that never seemed to go away. In Nurse Macy's experience, deep trauma usually was the cause of the kids she cared for. Nurse Macy always had this drive within her to help others, especially caring for the young. Even though Jessica wasn't a patient, she could tell the girl needed her help. Do you need some assistance in that area? She asked her softly. Jessica stared down at the floor for a moment, and then Nurse Macy watched her nod her head up and down. It was very hard for Jessica to ask for help, and Nurse Macy felt a glow in her chest as she trusted her enough to talk. I'm happy to help you, Jessica. I have an hour-long lunch break soon. We can go right to the department store, and I'll give you some advice on a dress. How does that sound? Yeah, that would be good. I'll grab you when it's time. Jessica stood in a slim, ankle-length lilac dress in front of the mirror in the fitting area of the department store. There were pale flowers etched in the design. The material was soft on the skin, and beneath her fingers she brushed her hand down to her hip. She couldn't recall the feeling of a dress so soft before. She tried on a few before this one, where there had been so many colors of dresses, pink, white, blue, yellow, red, and black, short dresses and long ones, of the shoulder or within thin or thick straps, puffy skirts or straight ones, dresses that glittered or shined. She wanted to wear black, but Nurse Macy convinced her to try something with color. Jessica hadn't looked at the price tag, but she hardly used the money she got from the job at the hospital. She had plenty of savings to buy a dress and some shoes. Jessica, you look stunning, Nurse Macy said in her gleeful way. Jessica really looked at herself. She lost more weight recently and she was still pretty. And her high cheekbones and full lips. Her hair was still thick and shiny. Her shoulders and arms looked delicate in a dress, and in the mirror she saw her lips curve. And just for a moment she could believe she was a regular girl buying a dress to go to prom with a boy she liked who liked her back. That her life was normal and perfect. I think I like it, she said with a small smile. I do too. Let's get you some shoes to match. Deep down, Jessica knew it was a fairy tale, and everything would burst to go back to the way things were soon enough. She asked Father Jeremiah if this was okay to allow herself to have something for herself. He seemed to think it was okay to her. Father Jeremiah represented life and death and forgiveness. He wanted to know that was right and what was wrong, right? Because now Jessica felt uncertain and fragile feelings she didn't feel comfortable with at all. Nurse Macy brought over a matching pair of simple purple shoes. What do you think? Jessica slipped them on, and her bright height went up 2 inches. They fit. Not only do they fit, but they're perfect. You're looking good to look beautiful in prom tonight, Jessica, and you're going to have a wonderful time. Can you walk okay? Jessica tried to walk and felt a little clumsy. Oof, it's not easy as it looks. It's been a lot of women wear heels, but they walk so naturally. Nurse Macy giggled. They were once like you. With some practice, you'll get the hang of it in no time. Just know that normal for your feet to feel a little sore, and especially after dancing. Don't ask me why we wear these things to torture ourselves, but they make our feet look pretty, don't you think? They do. Jessica glanced at Nurse Macy in the mirror as she gave her tips on how to walk confidently. Nurse Macy had always been kind to her, and so kind to all her patients. When other people were at the hospital avoided Jessica, Nurse Macy always tried to talk to her, and now she was there helping her when Jessica most needed it. Once upon a time in her old life, Jessica may have considered her a true friend and had been a normal girl. She was very much would have wanted a nurse that's like Nurse Macy, someone who admired her positive attitude and she cared for patients. Bringing joy to others or truly was a gift of the kind Father Jeremiah talked about. I bet your family still loves the dress you picked out, Nurse Macy said, searching Jessica's gaze in the mirror. Jessica said when she tried to think of a response. She supposed a typical parent would love seeing her daughter in a pretty prom dress, but that wasn't the case for Jessica. She tried to think for something to say, but her mind went blank. The sales walked up to them in the fitting room and stopped. Wow, your daughter looks gorgeous. Is this for prom? Jessica and Nurse Macy locked eyes in the mirror. Jessica had no idea how to respond. She simply looked down at her shoes and her hair shielding her face. She does, doesn't she? Nurse Macy suddenly said. Yes, it's the prom. This is the perfect dress. We would definitely take the dress and the shoes. Jessica raised her head and blinked in astonishment. She didn't question why Nurse Macy didn't correct the sales lady about being her mom. She guessed it really didn't matter. Explanations took too much energy sometimes, and it was better just to let others see what they wanted to see. As Jessica continued to look at herself, she let hope spread inside her for the first time in a long time. Prom night was going to be perfect. After her shift, Nurse Macy wanted a nice hot meal while watching one of her favorite TV shows. She vowed she would get that soon enough. It would have been about a week since she had taken Jessica to buy her prom dress, and she had wearing with herself that she should too. Should she leave well enough alone and let Jessica's business be, or should she take action and help her? She finally decided to take action. Nurse Macy rechecked the copy of Jessica's work application she submitted to the hospital and tried not to let the guilt get to her for invading the young girl's privacy or violating HIPP or Nurse Macy rechecked the copy of Jessica's work application that she submitted to the hospital and tried not to let the guilt over her for invading the young girl's privacy or violating HIPAA. She read Jessica's address and put it into her phone's GPS app to guide her to Jessica's home. She felt like she was doing this in Jessica's best interest by getting down to the truth of the teen's family life. Nurse Macy felt as if she knew what was going on at home. Then she would be able to help her, maybe speak to her parents or her guardians, explain her worries about Jessica's health and demeanor, perhaps even let them know that Jessica needed some help emotionally. Jessica was a wonderful girl and she deserves to have family support for things like prom. She deserves someone to care about her. She deserved to be happy. Nurse Macy knew Jessica was hiding something about her home life, but she wasn't sure what it would be. Yes, they'd been in habit of sticking her nose where it didn't belong, but that was what made her darn good nurse. She investigated the facts to better help her patients, and with Jessica it was no different. When Nurse Macy saw someone in need, she reached out to help, especially when the poor girl had to ask an older coworker to help her get a dress for prom. Where was her mother and father, or her guardian? Why wouldn't a 14-year-old have someone to turn to? This was so sad, and she couldn't stand it. A few minutes later, she drove down an older section of town. Some of the street lights were burnt out, and she could see many of their homes were run down. Where the couple of boarded-up windows with graffiti sprayed in the garage doors, turn right on Cemetery Lane, her app relayed to her. Nurse Macy turned right. The night was clear, and the stars shined above the town. She drove past the cemetery and looked down the dark gravestones. Felt a shiver crawl down her back. Poor girl lives near the cemetery, she realized. Down the other road, the last dilapidated house on the block. Your destination's on your left. Nurse Macy pulled along the sidewalk and parked her car. She got out and clicked her car fob on the locker doors. She took a deep breath and pulled her coat closer around her neck against the cold of the evening. She would simply explain to Jessica that her family that was worried about her and wanted to make sure she was okay. Then she would speak to her guardian alone and explain her worries. She didn't want to embarrass Jessica at all. She walked up to the cracked walkway to the door. The light was dim and she could see the light on the inside through the curtains. The paint was chipping off the house and door. Nurse Macy knocked. She heard a low dog bark and footsteps before the dog's door opened. An old woman with glasses stood in the doorway. She had curlers in her hair and no teeth. Nurse Macy could tell by the way her lips were pursed. Her skin was wrinkled and pale. She wore an old, ripped robe of the color of gray storm clouds. Yes, the old woman said, and she squinted at Nurse Macy looked through her glass. Hello, my name is Nurse Macy. Nurse? I don't need no checkup. Had one the other day. Shush up, Pipsy, the old woman said to the little barking dog. Oh no, I work with Jessica. Are you her grandmother? Nurse Macy could understand clearly why Jessica didn't support she needed. She was living with her grandmother. She likely didn't take care of this woman rather than the other way around. Who'd you say? Don't have my hearing aid in. Can't hear as good as I used to. Nurse Macy leaned in closer. Jessica, is she here? May I speak to you about Jessica? Jessica? I don't know. No, Jessica. Nurse Macy blinked in confusion. She stepped back to the house number. It's 333 Cemetery Lane? Yes, but you must have the wrong house. No Jessica here. Now that I need to go back to my shows. I don't want to buy nothing either. Oh, sorry. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't know what happened. The door was shut in her face and the porch light turned off. Nurse Macy sighed in frustration. Where in the world are you, Jessica? Jessica was in total darkness. Her surroundings were completely quiet except for her breath. There was coldness in the penetrated her skin, straight through her bones, and she shivered. She touched her bare arms and then her clothes. She felt the material of her prom dress. Why am I wearing my prom dress, she wondered. Where was she? She put her hand in front of her, trying to feel her way forward. She saw nothing in front of her and nothing behind her. Fear crashed over her. She was nowhere. She died in her sleep? Was this what the afterlife was like? Was she in some kind of in-between world? But she couldn't have died, she realized. It wasn't yet her time. She still had to go to prom. She still had to help April. She felt dependent in gripping the metal that always felt warm at the touch was now around her neck. She started to walk forward with slow, hesitant steps. She could know how long she walked. It seemed like forever. Out of nowhere, she finally heard a creak, a footstep, a movement. Hello? She whispered. Is someone there? Please, if you're there, say something. I'm afraid. I can't see anything. Please, I don't know what to do. No answer. She licked her dry lips as she continued to move forward, trying to get somewhere. Anywhere. Was there a wall? A door, maybe? Another sound came from around her, metal creaking against metal. Jessica froze in awareness dawned. No. The sound happened again, but this time right behind her. A shudder of terror radiated on her spine. Jessica ran. She rushed forward as fast as she could, with her arms waving around her, wondering if she could collide with something. Metal footsteps stomped behind her, quickly. So close, so close. She blinked, trying to adjust to the dark, but she still could not see anything. In the cold, a sweat broke out her body as she ran, trying to escape the terrifying thing that chased her. A tense grip curled around her arm. Jessica screamed, No, please, get away from me. Someone help me. Quickly, the grip tore off to the arm from her shoulder. She felt a warm gush of blood run down the side of her body. Her body vibrated in shock, her mouth open and gasping for air. When she felt a grip on her arm, Jessica tried to yank away as she felt her arm pulled from her bone. Jessica fell down in pain and agony. She seemed like it took forever to collide with the hard, cold ground. She heard more creaks and movement of metal above her. Then she felt something cold grab the pendant on her neck before it was torn away from her. No, don't take my pendant away. Jessica jerked awake with a frightening scream. She was in her sleeping bag in a stone floor of the mausoleum. She pushed against a stone bench in her back and grabbed her mini flashlight, flicking it on. Her heart felt like it would pound through her skin. She swiveled the light around, looking for anything in the night. She listened for sounds of metal creaking against metal, but she could only hear the breath filtering out of her mouth and crickets chirping in the night. She saw nothing around her but stone walls. She was truly unknown. She touched the pendant against her chest and she calmed down. She was safe. Everything's okay, she said aloud and waited for dawn. When the soft rays of the light peered through the colored glass window, Jessica looked around her dark, stale surroundings. Since staying in the mausoleum for the first time, she saw it really was a cold, dark place for the dead, not for someone alive, not for someone who wanted to live. The next day during science engineering class, it was time to present the Minibot 5000 to Mrs. Willenby. In the class, Jessica sat next to Robert in her land table. The Willingbot 5000 was sitting on the table between them. They painted some sort of parts Robert's favorite color, blue. Jessica had the final written report in her hands and turned it into a presentation. She felt nervous, which was odd for her. She noticed Robert bouncing his leg up and down. He seemed nervous, too. She tested out the Minibot 5000 a few more times and everything went generally worked, but was learned throughout the project. Something could go wrong at any time. During their other test runs, the Minibot 5000 had burned out a wire which had been replaced, springs had broken which needed to be fixed, and now a final presentation was here, for better or for worse. Jessica wanted Robert to feel better. She took something out of her book bag and held it in her hand. While they listened to the other students' presentation, when the class clapped, she poked Robert in the shoulder. She glanced at her. Here, she said, and opened her palm. It was her lucky rabbit's foot. He lifted his eyebrows. A rabbit's foot? It's for luck. I know we'll do well, but it might make you feel better with a little extra luck on your side. He smiled and took the rabbit's foot. That's cool. Thanks, Jess. He dangled the short chain that it was attached on his finger, and she had done many times before. Jessica smiled back. You're welcome. I have something for you, too. He loosened the braided leather band on his wrist and handed it to her. I'd like for you to have this. She looked her head. But it's yours. You always wear it. Now I'd like you to have it. Jessica took the bracelet and slipped it on her own wrist and tightened the band until it fit. She felt funny warmth in her chest. Thank you, she said quietly. I can't wait for tonight. Prom's gonna be fun. Jessica felt a nervous flutter in her stomach at the thought of prom. Robert and Jessica, you're next. Robert stood, sliding Robert's foot in his pocket. Look, it's Ken and Zombie Barbie, the girl behind them said, and a few laughs followed. Robert ignored them, and Jessica smiled at he didn't let them under his skin. He lifted the mini-bot 5000 and they made for way to the front of the class. It took 15 minutes to discuss their entire plan for the mini-bot 5000, the design, the components, the building of the bot, and the trials and tribulations that followed with the test runs. Now let's see mini-bot 5000 in action, Robert announced. Surprisingly, Robert handed the controller to Jessica to perform the mini-bot 5000 presentation to the class. All the eyes would be on her alone. She nearly didn't take it. She was used to being invisible, and now it looked over and forgotten. Robert gave her a reassuring smile. You can do it, he whispered. With a trembling hand, she took the controller. He flicked on the switch in the mini-bot 5000 and then the remote. Robert grabbed the soda can and went to the other end of the presentation floor. She pushed the knob and moved forward toward Robert. Mini-bot 5000 sputtered as first as usual and then moved toward him. She stopped it right at his feet, then flicked the button to tray elevated. Robert placed the can on the tray and Jessica flicked the button. The tray went back down. Then it wobbled but stayed upright. Then backed it up and turned the mini-bot 5000 around. She guided it to Miss Willoughby and raised the tray for her to grab the soda. Well, thank you, mini-bot 5000. I don't mind if I do, Miss Willoughby said. She lifted the soda, cracked open the tab, and took a sip. Yummy. The students laughed. A successful mini-robot, you two. Great job. She praised their work and the class clapped her along. Robert smiled. Even though all eyes were on Jessica, she didn't care. She smiled back at him. And as they sat back in their seats, a girl came up to Jessica and Robert's table. Jessica automatically ducked her head, her hair sliding against her face. Hi, the girl said to Jessica. I'm Tina. Jessica lifted her head and blinked in surprise. Oh, hi. The girl had brown hair and pulled back into a ponytail. She wore a black sweatshirt and faded jeans. Jessica had noticed her in a few times. She kept to herself and was often studying alone. Your bot's really cool, Tina said. Thank you, I liked yours too. The moving arm, right? Yeah, thanks. I paired it with Blake. He's okay. Maybe next time we can work together. Jessica glanced towards Robert, but he was talking to another student. Yeah, maybe we can, he said. Okay, see you around, Jessica. Okay, bye, Tina. Jessica couldn't believe it. Another student actually wanted to speak to her and possibly work with her in a project in the future. She was used to the kids avoiding her, and now another student wanted to be around her. She swallowed, trying to wrap her mind around how quickly things were changing. And how quickly they will change. Alright, well, I hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient. The lesson we can take from today is, it might seem like you will be alone at the moment, and you might think you'll be alone forever, like what Jessica's feeling. Of course, for her, it's quite literal, because she's a robot in disguise. But the lesson I want you to take from this is, you're not going to forever be alone. You always have friends to go to, and you always have someone to talk to, and all that. And when someone wants to help you, don't deny it. It might be hard to ask someone for help. And it might be hard to ask someone for anything. I mean, look at my little buddy next to me. Cameron Atkins. No one would go up to some random YouTuber, big or small, and go, hey, can you sing my birthday? Unless they had courage. I mean, a lot of kids have courage, but, only few have the courage that this kid has. I mean, that's honest and true. So, I want you to be yourself, and I want you to be like my little buddy here. And, have the courage to ask for help. Because it's not wimpiness to ask for help or ask for something that you may want or like. It's courage that you asked. Because there's so many people in this world that don't ask for things and then bite the dust in the future. Anyways, hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. If you like, be efficient. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Except that's not the real bye-bye. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Boop ba doo ba doo do do do. Nope. Yeah, come here. You. Come here. Sit. Candle on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cameron Atkins. Happy birthday to you. And thanks for coming on the show and listening to me read the book.